You can't judge a book by its cover, and you can't judge a Destiny expansion after the first few days. But being months into Beyond Light now, the raid has been cleared, unlocking the end of a few different major quest lines and revealing the full power of Stasis, along with most of the exotic arsenal for the season. So yeah, time to pass some official judgments. Beyond Light is great. Now, you can be upset about what has been removed from Destiny 2 to make room for the DLC. 4 zones, 5 raids, loads of strikes, and Crucible maps, and about 75% of the legendary gear which is no longer viable due to sunsetting. All of this has saved space and made the game load faster, even on last-gen consoles. And yet we're mainly here to talk about what was added with Beyond Light. Europa is a fantastic zone. The game's first in over 2 years now. A frozen wasteland with horizontal icicles covering both dead human cities from ages past and a worryingly alive fallen city in the north. But Europa is as much about what's under the ice, namely a sprawling Clovis Bray facility, the man and company that built the robot Exos, embedded with human consciousness, which are a major thematic focus of the season. Europa now has a weather system which periodically blankets the map in whiteout blizzard conditions. Annoying for combat, perhaps, but it makes it feel like a living world. And I'm wondering what EDZ thunderstorms or moon meteor showers might look like in the future with such a system. The story of Beyond Light is one of the most coherent told in-game I've seen from Destiny. Yes, the fundamental revenge storyline of Forsaken was good, and yet that got into pretty weird territory. Here, it's more straightforward. Fallen Kelly Ramus wants revenge for the Traveler, the supplier of our light powers and protector of Earth, for abandoning her people and devastating her world. So she turns to the darkness, the ominous pyramids that have invaded our solar system as of late, for new powers. Powers which the darkness is also happy to give us, and watch us duke it out. Those powers are stasis, a new ice-based element in the game, and something unlike anything Destiny has ever done before. Stasis is probably the star of Beyond Light, and an absolute blast to play with in player versus environment, even if it's proven to be something of a nightmare in player versus player. Stasis is so good it's kind of hard for other subclasses to even compare to it anymore outside of your usual necessary wells and bubbles you need for certain encounters. The new system has set up slowing, freezing, and shattering as new mechanics that you will utilize in combat alongside your weapons. This has resulted in some crazy new abilities across classes like Hunters, throwing down an ice wall around them, slamming into the ground to shatter it, or Warlocks deploying their rift to freeze everything around them, as well as heal themselves. Stasis has unbalanced the game in a weird way where we are waiting for the other subclasses to catch up. And now, with new Darkness subclasses coming in the future, Bungie promises, the game is about to get a lot more complicated. In a good way. But balance may prove to be harder than ever soon enough. Speaking of balance, Bungie has been content experimenting with some truly wild stuff this time around. Not just stasis, but new ideas like a certain pair of exotic warlock gloves that pair with a poison-spewing hand cannon that amplifies the effects of both for one of the most potent combos in the game. Players now have access to a sniper rifle that shoots lightning bolts, and a chainsaw sword, both of which so far are proving to be some of the craziest, strongest weapons the game has seen in ages. While we have lost a lot of loot due to sunsetting, even outside of the exotics, I've enjoyed what I've found so far, with new Europa and Wild Hunt weaponry feeling solid with interesting new perks. But no weapons seem to have more significant perks than what players are now finding in the Deep Stone Crypt raid, as Bungie has delivered on their promise and made raid loot aspirational again, with rad-looking armor and unique abilities with weapons you cannot find anywhere else. The Deep Stone Crypt raid is an incredible work of art. We can debate where it ranks in the overall raid list of Destiny history, but any raid that features one encounter as a space station plummets to Earth in a fireball while the next encounter takes place in the wreckage down on the ground is doing something right. All of this is Beyond Light. But what we should probably also touch on both New Light and Season of the Chosen. The New Light experience has been redesigned top to bottom and is far, far more logical in terms of how you progress and learn the systems of the game through new mentor Shah Han and the integration of both old and new quests in the Cosmodrome. We don't love that the Cosmodrome arrived and has almost no relevance to veteran players short of a single Beyond Light mission and strike, but perhaps that will change over time. Season of the Chosen has yet to unfold in a meaningful capacity, but we are torn about what we've seen so far. There's plenty still to rave about, like the new ability to farm lost sectors for specific exotics, or complain about, like how there's no fast travel point in the north of the map. But overall, Beyond Light is an incredibly solid addition to Destiny. We do wish so much of the game wasn't removed or locked away, but what they have added is among the best content they've produced, and they did it all working from home during a pandemic, which is probably the most incredible part of all of this. Beyond Light is an easy recommendation for any avid Destiny fan, but also, it's time for new players to hop in as well now that new Light content actually makes sense as an onboard to the rest of the game. When heading back in, and even in a crowded new season, there's nothing else we'd rather be playing. Taking all these points into consideration, we think that Beyond Light and the new seasons more than deserve a 7 out of 10 rating. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Deadly NightShade for the Gamers Outpost, and we'll see you in the next one.